This was tweeted out by Hembo, who is the stats guy for the show Get Up. He is the best stats human. He's a wizard whenever looking up stats. Paul Hembo says highest cap hits from 2014 to 2019. Stafford, 130 million. Roethlisberger, 128 million. Aaron Rodgers, 126. Drew Brees, 125. Eli, 124. Matt Ryan, 118. Phillip Rivers, 117. Joe Flacco, 106. Cam Newton, 104. None won the Super Bowl during that time. I believe what Hembo was digging up this stat for was for Stephen Jones' comment about Dak Prescott. Yeah, the other day on PFT PM with Mike Florio, where he said there are analytics and stats that basically say whenever your quarterback gets a certain percentage of the salary cap, you are not going to win. This stat has stated that these quarterbacks have been paid an astronomical amount of cash since 2014 and have not been on the winning side of things. Drew Brees has been very close. Aaron Rodgers has been very, very, very close. Cam Newton, incredibly close. I believe Matthew Stafford has obviously been just about 8 to 9 games away every single time. Matt Ryan has obviously won a Super Bowl in this time period and then immediately lost the same Super Bowl. So I think although the stats do say that these people have not won a Super Bowl, I think, by the way, pretty little. This is pretty good. This is pretty. You see this number up here. This.
Oh, there you go.
There we go. Figure out how.
Oh, I like that.
I'm like a weather person on a green screen there. You got to work opposite. But I think this stat can be a little bit misleading. Okay? Because there's 5 quarterbacks on there who have been very, very close. Aaron Rodgers potentially in the Super Bowl. I'm not saying he's going to win against the Chiefs because I don't think anybody was going to beat the Chiefs last year. But was it Aaron Rodgers' fault that they gave up 186 yards before contact? They would say maybe because they haven't been able to pay somebody to do that. So maybe, I guess maybe you could say that. But a lot of these quarterbacks have been awfully close. But I think this was in an attempt to kind of support the theory that Stephen Jones had about not paying Dak Prescott.
Well, and like you mentioned, doesn't this always come back to whether or not you view that the guy can win a game by himself? Because if he can, you have to keep him. And if he can't, he's going to go somewhere else.
Listen, it's Tuesday, May 12th, okay? In the middle of a quarantine. There's nothing to talk about. So I'm going to say this again. I've been saying this for years, okay? Long time I've been saying this. Is the new blueprint in the NFL not paying your quarterback so you can pay everybody around him? If you think your quarterback can win all by themselves, you can pay him. You should pay him. But if he's not going to be able to just carry the entire franchise on his back if need be, like some of those guys have, by the way. Some of those guys have done it. Aaron has. Drew Brees has won. Not granted, Michael Thomas, Sean Payton's a big brain. I mean, they obviously have a good supporting cast. But if you don't think a guy can win a game strictly with his arm, every game with his arm, you can't pay him. You just can't do it nowadays because it feels as if the teams who have the most success are quarterbacks who aren't getting broken off at the top amount. Tom Brady took a pay cut every single year. Now, granted, did anybody else appreciate that other than Bill Belichick? No. Every other quarterback hated it because everybody else could say, look what Tom Brady's doing. Look what Tom Brady's doing. Let alone inside New England Patriots organization where they can say, this is what our quarterback's taking as opposed to this. So you should take this a little bit lower. But I do believe the quarterback payment scale is something that is going to be addressed at some point. Somebody's going to figure out how to do it. Because when the new CBA came out and there was more money in the salary cap, the only thing that meant was more money for the quarterbacks. That's literally all it meant, one up. So I've been pitching pretty hard for the quarterbacks to be in their own world that doesn't affect the salary cap. Let's just go ahead and let them have their own world where they can be tiered. You think he's a super elite guy, put him up here, and then they can make their own, hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. But whenever they negotiate that deal, they know that they're immediately going to be judged on whether or not they win a Super Bowl because they just got paid $100 million. And if you don't do that, you're going to be talked about in a way that you shouldn't be talked about. And I feel like this Stephen Jones, Dak Prescott thing happening is a very interesting one because is Stephen Jones setting himself up for when they don't win a Super Bowl to say, hey, I said this before we paid him? Or is he saying, hey, I'm going to pay you still even though we know this because I think you're that good? Like, which way will Stephen Jones spin that towards Dak Prescott? TBD. So sorry to interrupt. If you're a man watching this, you deserve to have long, great. And you can do that now with our friends at Roman. Right now, you go to GetRoman.com. You get $10 off and free 2-day shipping on Roman swipes, which are guaranteed to make you have longer, more fulfilling every time you get in the sack. Now let's get back to the fornicating action.
It's so hard too, because like for those quarterbacks on that list, yeah, they haven't won a Super Bowl, but for all those quarterbacks, like you had to pay them because you've seen how bad the teams have gotten, like when those quarterbacks have been injured. Like the Steelers went from a top 5 offense to number 32 last year.
Well,
when Big Ben is
well,
out.
it's also not. I mean, guy got hit in the head with his own helmet. Guy got hit in the head with his own helmet. How the hell is he not have PTSD every time he steps on the
Well,
field?
he wasn't great before that either.
Whoa.
But that turkey leg looked delicious, and I know why Foxy did that. But you have to be pretty good to be eating that turkey leg after the game, even though someone had a perfect passer rating.
Thank
in
you.
that game.
Thank you. I was about to say, this is a shot by Foxy at both
what are you guys
Roethlisberger and me and the entire city of Indianapolis.
Yeah, he didn't think about you when he did this.
This is Foxy getting a little bit edgy. Oh,
I didn't think about it.
Yeah, is that right?
I only thought about Tony.
Is that
to be
right?
honest.
Remember, I got fined immediately after that game, too. I mean, that game brings up – that game was the reason why I ultimately decided to retire.
Perfect
why-
passer
that's
rating
what we're
doesn't
here
get you a
now.
turkey leg?
Oh, my God. Could you imagine if
He might have too, to be honest. That
if
game.
we win that game? Hey, if we win that game, you think I'm eating a turkey leg
Guaranteed.
afterwards?
Good chance.
You think I'm eating –
Who else is going to have it?
I had a good Thanksgiving game, by the way. They played my pizza bit. Remember?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
My favorite thing is stuffing, blah, blah, blah. I also like pizza. That has nothing to do with this, but I was also doing those interviews during the same time period after a surgery where I was,
Are we allowed to play that clip?
Flying high.
I'm not 100% sure. Are we just watching this clip forever, Foxy?
We're talking about Thanksgiving.